Welcome back to the Tongue of the Trees channel. I'm Elizabeth Ashley, the Secret Healer, and this is what is Cypress essential oil good for? And we're talking about the emotional, mental and spiritual bodies in this lecture. So we've got quite a lot to get through, because as well as that, we're going to look at how to use the Tongue of the Trees cards and how to do a spread. We'll also talk about the safety of cypress oil, and finally, I'm going to hand over to Gergely Halodi, who is a Hungarian aromatherapist and the original designer of the cards, incidentally, who will talk us through how he uses and blends cypress essential oil. So let's start off. I do like to do it this way with just a little drop. Woo! It wanted to come out. It wants to talk to us. It wants to talk to us. So the key word, if I remember rightly, for cypress is transition, and it's a lovely oil for change. Just quickly going over the physical side, you might remember that I talked about positive ions, and that's kind of, when you're around computers all the time, especially fluorescent lights really do it to me. I'm glad that they've been phased out and we've got more LEDs these days. But you know how you get that kind of fuzzy feeling around your head? What that is, I feel, is like a disturbance of the etheric bodies, and change of any sort will do that. And so Cypress does the same thing, really. It smooths it out so that you don't feel so disturbed by everything that's going on. It's very stabilizing through change. I'm trying to go Greek now. The Greek god of healing, Asclepius, had a clinic that was supposed to be surrounded by cypress trees, and I do think that it's very much a healing oil from on that level, that heals the emotional upset behind the physical disease, if that makes sense. It's very calming oil. Even though it's an uplifting note, it's calming and pacifying. And if you are looking for cypress trees, you often find them in England in churchyards. It's very healing to go and sit under a cypress tree, to just kind of shift you away from the grief that you're feeling for the person that's there. It helps you keep in your realm and let them go to theirs, if that makes sense. Helps you let go of the past. I'm trying to think of a time where that, outside of grief, where that would be useful. Okay, so it is also a useful oil for children. And I'm seeing a child who's had to move school, maybe move house, and didn't want to. And so he misses his friends. And that's overwhelming to him, that he really can't concentrate on the class. He doesn't really want to make friends. He's worried about making friends because maybe you're going to move him again. Cypress is extremely good for going, okay, you did that and it was wonderful, but now this can be wonderful too. We're going to move forward. It's beautiful. Helping you change, helping you let go of the past. Lovely. What else have I got in my notes? So for mental health, the office thing is on there about the positive ions. But also, so if you're sitting there and you're absorbing these positive ions, you might not even feel fuzzy, but day by day, your thought processes get a little bit more not great, you know, but also stagnant. So if you're the kind of person that's struggling to come up with new ideas at work, or you're using the same approach over and over again, and other people are seeing better results, you're not seeing results, maybe you're slightly outdated. I mean, things move out of date very quickly, don't they, you know? And you can't think of the new patter at work, you know, on this, to make things happen on the phones. Or Cypress says, come on. And part of that holding back process, I feel, comes from all of this absorption of positive ions. It makes you, you know, stuck. So by releasing that, by neutralizing the positive ions, perhaps you're getting these new thought processes coming through. It is very inspirational that way. It's very good at being able to say, let's do things in a different way. We've done that before. We're letting go of that past. Let's move forward. So my notes say helps growth and expanding. That's obvious. Immortality and hope often found in church rods. Thin, think of how tall it grows. Yes, so if you have never seen a cypress tree, think of like Florence, Tuscany, and they have those beautiful, thin, long trees, don't they? And they're very, very flexible, aren't they? The wind should knock them over, but they don't. They've got this beautiful flexibility. That's the kind of cypress energy that goes, come on, we can move, we can go with the flow. We can go with the flow. And, you know, we were talking about everybody else is getting better results. It's quite an ambitious oil. You know, if you, it says, and actually it's quite good at going, yeah, it's all right to be ambitious. You don't have to stay here. You can move forward. It's very good at supporting ambition and getting that drive and that novel inspiration, really. So lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I'm just going to have a look in my book, because I think Cypress is one of those oils that's not very easy to sell if you're selling the oil. So let me have a think. If I have a look. Oh, that's interesting. So if we look at the astrological aspects of it, I was trying to see something that would move you forward differently. If you look at the astrological aspects, it exists on Pisces, Aries, cusp. So then we're going about change again, aren't we? So if you think of Pisces, it's the very last sign of the zodiac. When think of it like New Year's Eve, as it clicks over to Aries, we're into a new zodiac year. And so this is like the old life, the new life. And so if you think of New Year's Eve resolutions and how we try again and we start again and we try to make new amends and honour ourselves better each year, that's the vibration of Cypress. So if somebody is ambitious enough to want to lose weight, or they want to go for a new job, or you know, that kind of want to make new promises to themselves, but they want to give up the old way of doing something, then Cypress is a great way forward. So perhaps if you're doing like a party and you want to ask what people's new promises to themselves, who's looking to lose new weight. It's not a weight loss oil, but it is moving you from the old life to the new life. So emotionally and mentally, it fortifies you to be more successful in what you want to do. So hopefully that will help you. Let's talk now. I'll show you the slides first, and then we'll come back and talk about the safety, because again, if you're selling essential oils or you're using them, and it's important to know what you're watching for. So see you in a minute after the slides. I'm going to run through a quick layout for you to show you the different cards. Now, one of the things that we're not going to tell you in this video, in these videos, is the poem that goes with the cards. But for this layout, we will read them to you just so that you get a chance to sort of feel how the different poems look. So I thought I'd show you the cards. As you can see, lovely little box. I'll show you the other side. Boring stuff, except for cool stuff what I read. Okay, so if we open it up, we can see that the cards just have one logo on, and that is because these originally were Gegle's cards. He's been selling these for a long time in Hungary. Mostly they've been bought by kinesiologists, interestingly enough. They've been doing the energy work with them. They haven't got any aromatherapy background, but they've been able to tap into the energetics of the oils to be able to move emotional blockages. So let's show you. So these come out nice and easy because we've got beautiful little ribbons. And let's get rid of that. So if I said to the cards, what energy do I need? What oils will help me do the best job with these videos? Let's have a... Now, my friend Belinda used these the other day, and she does have a habit of shuffling them the wrong way. So we'll have to hope that they're all the way right up. I'm not doing a good job of keeping them that way. So let's have a look. What do I need to do a great job? So I think, it's up to you how you do it, but I think cut it 3 ways, cut it back. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So first 3 cards off the top. Cedarwood Virginian. I'll tell you why I'm laughing at that in a minute. Got rose and lavender. That's a beautiful blend, isn't it? Reason why I was laughing about a Cedarwood Virginian is when Gegle and I came to do the notes of all the different cards, we both went, oh, we've done these cards for Cedarwood Virginian and I don't really know how to explain them differently. And because I was doing lots of editing work, I went, oh, just leave it. So yesterday I did a meditation with Cedarwood Virginian and got the most beautiful, beautiful work out of it. So you must tap into that tomorrow, have a listen to that video and see it was really different stuff that came out. So let's have a look. So if we go to the book, we can see that there's a brown streak on cedarwood, and that tells us it's the woods. So we find the woods. Slowly but surely we find the woods. At the back. Okay, so I'm going to use the other cards just to cover up the other pages, because you know what? Sooner or later you're going to have to pay me for something. So, Cedarwood Virginian. Actually, I'll show you this, but I'll read it to you because I'm hoping that it doesn't turn back to front on you, but it may well do. So, Cedarwood Virginian says, hold strong. Don't be swayed by the winds of change around you. Stand tall. Resist the temptation to listen as the naysayers surround you. Keep focused on the job you have in hand. Remain strategic. Don't veer from tactics you've planned. Listen intently to information on the breeze. Remain determined. Your courage is what makes me pleased. Hold strong. Don't be swayed by the winds of change around you. Stand tall. Resist the temptation to listen as the naysayers surround you. Keep focused on the job you have in hand. Remain strategic. Don't veer from tactics you've planned. Listen intently to information on the breeze. Remain determined. Your courage is what makes me pleased. And I'd forgotten, I stopped halfway through because I'd forgotten this is the only one that went like a round. It kept repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. And that taps in beautifully to the determination, doesn't it? I'm keeping on reminding you. I'm keeping on reminding you. I'm keeping on reminding you. So, and actually, definitely watch the video on Cedarwood Virginian, because you'll see just how spooky that is when you see the meditation work I did. Now, you'll also see on here at the bottom of the page, there's the energetics. Now, we're not going to talk about these energetics at all in the video. You might want to go and buy our knowledge base. Now, the knowledge base is completely based on this, and it is a set of lessons on each of the aspects. So middle to base, you're going to hear about that today when Gergely does his blending. So that's there. It also vibrates on the throat chakra. So what does that mean? Within the knowledge base, there is a complete set of information about the different chakras. We do as a lecture on each different chakra, how it affects on the emotional body, how it affects the physical body, how it affects the mental and spiritual bodies, and how that's working. So when we're looking at the knowledge base, this information here describes how the energies move through the system. What energy shift has taken place that we are getting these different physical problems and mental issues. So we can see that cedarwood Virginian operates on the water element and the earth element. And again, in the knowledge base, there's a complete section about, we talk about the about half an hour about the water element, then again about half an hour for the earth element, metal, fire, and whatever the other one is, gone out of my head. And then here we can see Sagittarius. Now, so that tells us that what planetary rulership it comes under. This is medical astrology, and this is actually how I see the different energetics playing out. Some people see it through the Ayurvedic, some people see it through Chinese medicine. This is always the lens I see it through. And usually we'll talk about how it's ruled by the moon or the sun or Saturn and the different trends that we see out. And when we look at an archetype like that, it's like, Jade Shoots always says, it's like a metaphor, and that's a great analogy of how you can see the thread playing out right across the medicine. And so you can see that cedarwood Virginian is Sagittarius. So in the knowledge base, we talk about the different signs and planets, and also the different houses. If I remember right, Angelica, for example, falls under the Pisces Aries cusp. So that's really quite a difficult one to understand. There's a whole lesson about the Pisces Aries cusp. And then again, Chinese medicine, it nourishes yin. What does that mean? What does it mean? It calms Shen. Shen is an interesting phenomenon all in its own right. It's the consciousness, our mental faculties, our imagination, our emotions, God with a small g, God with a big G, all of those aspects. There's a complete lesson about Shen and how the essential oils can affect it and change that to move the energy. And then we can see increases Pitta, reduces Vata, balances Kapha. So it's interesting, actually. I do know at the moment all of my oils tend to come out with earth energy. It's quite interesting hearing me do the earth energy lecture, because it's entirely about the challenges I am facing at the moment. But if you are somebody who sells essential oils and you're looking for a way in all of the time, that right, you're talking to the person at the school gate, for example, and you can see, she seems a healthy girl, to be honest. She's loving her kids, she seems happy. Imagine somebody who's got a really sing-song voice all the time. Oh, my darling, how did you get on today? Was it lovely? I know. And then child walks off. How are you? To everybody. If that sing-song voice never quite relents, then you can imagine that there's an earth energy imbalance. So any oils that fall under earth energy are a good ones to sell. So yeah, if you are interested in learning more about that, ways in, just kind of being able to see, talking to somebody, what might be clues of what's going on of that energetic shift, then head over the knowledge base to have a look at that. So what was our next card? It was Rose, wasn't it? Queen of Roses, as you know. I do love my roses. Let's have a look. So the flowers, I think, are at the front of the book, if I remember rightly. Beautiful pink. Oh, we're both flowers, aren't they? So rose, rose, rose. Damask Rose. I was thinking we'd miss Rose out, but it's not under D for Rose. It's under, sorry, it's not R for Rose. It's D for Damask Rose. I remember writing this one, actually. This is quite sad. So it says, standing by your graveside or sobbing into your pillow. I know your pain. On the days when you feel lonely, worried or sad, I know your pain. Through the nights where sleep seems far away and you feel like you might break, amidst the anger, the confusion and desolation, I feel your pain. For I was there, remember? When you smelled the roses of their love as your fingertips stroked my petals and tried to avoid the prick of thorn. I felt your hopes, your fears, your joy of deep connection. I ensnared it in my scent to help conjure that affection. In my fragrance, remember hope. Let my aroma you complete. May scent of celebration heal you, calm you and help you sleep. For through me you are never alone, always loved and open to give and receive more. Smell me, open up and feel safe to feel love once more. Now I anticipate that these will be different for everybody, but that's entirely my dad talking to me. I feel quite choked up reading that, actually. When he died, he gave me a rose bush. My cousin works for a rose bush company, David Austin Roses. I'm sure you've heard of them. He's quite a senior manager there, and Dad arranged for a rose called Noble Anthony to be given to me and my sisters at the funeral. So I go and sit and talk to the rose bush. That's a great reminder that my dad's with me today. So that actually, Dad, that really helps. Thank you. So let's have a look at the energetics. We can see middle heart chakra, obviously. Water. Now, again, as I say, in the knowledge base, there is a much bigger lecture on water. But the energy of water is how it can flow around any obstacle and find a way to fill the space. So that's great. That's lovely. And Venus is obviously the planet of love, but there's lots more to do with beauty and money, actually. There's an interesting lecture on Venus. I like talking about Venus. Balance is Vata, Pitta and Kapha. If you don't know, Vata is very drying, Pitta is hot and fiery and moist, and Kapha is sluggish. So it brings it all into alignment. But in the knowledge base, as I say, different lectures on each of those. So it nourishes the blood. Well, I've got funny blood, actually, so that's useful to know, Dad. Thank you. Yin and essence. So yin is the feminine aspect. It's very gentle and passive and receptive, and it harmonizes the heart and Shen. We just talked about Shen. So we're going to put all these in a blend in a minute. And so last but not least, the cards have told me that I should go for lavender, which I guess is probably just over the page. Still in the pinks, as you can see. Oh, I remember this one too. Cover them up, cover them up. Can you see? There we go. Lavender's blue, dilly dilly, lavender's green. When you breathe me, dilly dilly, softly you dream. Anger and grief, dilly dilly, softly drift by. Worries and hurts, dilly dilly, kiss them goodbye. When you feel tense, dilly dilly, look for the bees. See how they buzz, dilly dilly, resting with ease. Learn from their hum, dilly dilly, for they all know. Learning to rest, dilly dilly, helps you to grow. Breathe in the scent, dilly dilly, lavender's light. Calm your stressed mind, honey, honey, surrender the fight. Release cares and worries, dilly dilly, I help you to see. Life is so good, dilly dilly, just let it be. Okay, I'm going to let them flow, not force them. This helps, this really helps, you know. I've got to tell you, when I was helping Gerglade do this, he was sending me his notes, and every time they came across it, I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to do the cards. These are really hard. Didn't like my poems at all. Really found them difficult to do, and really, I just wanted to be writing my Melissa book, which I kind of still do, but I'm feeling a bit happier. Now I've got the cards in my hands and I can see them because they really help. Honestly, they really, really help. So, and of course I might be biased because it's my words talking back to me, but hearing the plant and seeing it written down, it's very, very helpful. So, actually I've probably skipped the most valuable part of the process for speed. But when you turn out your cards, if you have got the oils, I would sit and breathe the oil as you read the poem. And that's very difficult to do on this camera like this, but because then you will really hear, you'll have that connection with the plant. It will open it up to you. So top to middle note, as I say, Gaglay's going to talk to us about the blending. Water, we've just talked about how that finds ways, effortlessly finds gaps to do things, doesn't force it, just gets around any obstacle. Heart chakra again. Mercury, communication, data, information. Yeah, that's very mercurial medicine. We'll talk about that. I know it's a very interesting lecture about Mercury. I originally wrote the Mercury ropes for the pain practitioner program. And so these are quite detailed lectures, about half an hour long, the medical astrology ones, because of course that's my passion. Neutral to cool is the action. Yeah, cooling like the roses. Activates chi. Now again, we'll talk about chi in the knowledge base, but basically it's the life force. You know how we said we talked about Shen? Well, if Shen doesn't have adequate chi forcing it through, then it becomes disrupted. And I always think about it feeling like you're treading water. So the activation of chi calms Shen or nourishes Shen or raises Shen, depending on which essential oil it is. It aggravates Vata. So yes, this is one of my favourite nags. So the world tells you to put lavender essential oil into every massage oil, into your moisturiser, into your bath. So it aggravates Vata. People, it will dry you out. That is how you get dry skin. Aggravates Vata, makes you a bit vapid, a bit dreamy. So all of the time you're like, you know, like the dreamers that wander around on a cloud. If you're not careful, too much lavender makes you that. Pacifies kapha, so it stops you feeling sluggish, stops you feeling heavy. It's not really directly indicated for constipation, but that shift of energy through kapha would release not only constipation but congestion in the sinuses. And pacifies pitta. Well, pitta is hot, so it's calming. It reduces inflammation. Anything that's red, hot, angry, it'll calm it down. So there we go. So first, I've got my smelly stick. And really, this is only because then I can stick it down my top and you won't be able to see it. So we could use aroma pendants, we could use massage oil, sniffy sticks, whatever. This is just what works for me, and that's the most important thing, that it's the thing that works for you. So cedarwood Virginian is a fast oil, if I remember rightly. So this is quite a thin distillation. Ooh. And then we'll mop up everything off the table. Dip it up, wipe it up. Oh, so beautiful, it's smoky. It's beautiful, and I can tell you the lecture is about tapping into your ancestral line, and given that my ancestral line is full of wizards and witches, that's very helpful. Lots of plant healers coming to my aid. So a bit of lavender. Warm the bottle. You'll notice I cover the thing. It's not because I'm covering the labels, although it's because I can't be bothered going, don't ask me which oils I use, but it's more because it's very cold in this shed, so things get stiff, especially myrrh. Goodness me, when we come to do the myrrh video, I have to warm it up 3 weeks before. And then beautiful, beautiful rose. Look at the colour of that. Beautiful. It's my favourite bit, you know, was it waiting for it to come out, just seeing the colour. Have I got the nerve to let it drop? I have. Go on, mix, 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 blend. You know, whenever I try and do videos, I always want to have the image of oils mixing, and it nobody ever quite videos that effectively. I think it would be beautiful. Look at that. Oh my goodness, that is sheer heaven. Just beautiful. So yeah, if you obviously want to buy the cards, there's a link underneath that tells you where to get them from. But also, if you want to use the knowledge base, there's a link through to that too. And goodness me, when you start to smell that and you feel all the knowledge base opening up all the different shifts in the body and how they move and how they're executing through the physical body, it's really extraordinary. It's a whole new layer to plant medicine. So there we go. That is how to do the blending. Can't wait for you to watch Gerglo talk about proper blending in a minute. Hope the slides were helpful. So safety then. Let's first of all talk about the dilution. Very, very simple oil to use. Really, we're looking at a maximum dilution of 3% to make it a good aromatic blend, and that would be for an adult. In order to calculate that, if you think about a teaspoon of carrier oil, 100 drops pretty much, and then 3% would be 3 drops of essential oil in that carrier oil, nice and safe. It is high in some monoterpenes, so it is one that will not last you forever. So just watch using them up early enough so that you don't get to the end of the bottle, leave it, and then have skin sensitivity issues. Beautiful. I love it. I love Cypress oil. Pregnancy. Is it safe? Yes, it is. After 16 weeks. I don't like using any essential oils before 16 weeks. I don't think that it's a very safe practice to do at all. Energetically though, no, I don't think that Cypress be one that I would use. If you think about how we talked in the physical body, how it was diuretic. Do we want to reduce the water in the body? No, we don't know what that's going to do to the amniotic sac. Also, do we want an oil that's associated with death? I don't think that we do, really. However, that's talking about on the topical body, isn't it? If you feel that it's an oil that you absolutely need to tap into psychologically, and I have days like that when I just think nothing else will do, no problem at all using it as an inhalation. So it is safe. It's safe after 16 weeks. Energetically, I don't think it's a great match. Have we got any problems with drug interactions? No, I don't think so. How could we use it on children? Absolutely, definitely can. You watch your dilutions. If it's a little kid, anything up to about 10 years old, I tend to use only like a 1% dilution. So in your teaspoon of carrier, that's just 1 drop instead of 3. Lovely oil to use on old people, especially if somebody is grieving. 2% if they're weakened, and 3% on an ordinary day. What else can I tell you? Is it safe around cats and dogs? It is. But I actually don't think my cats used to like Cypress. And I have a spooky woo-woo thought about this, and I don't know if it's true. Some oils you really shouldn't use around cats because they're high in phenols. Dogs fine. Dogs are fine. This isn't high in phenols, but think of that association between the... we talked about how it's on the Pisces-Aries cusp. Pisces is the old life. Aries is the new life. You know how like cats go... and then look and you think, what the hell did they just see? I noticed they did it more with Cypress, I have to say, and then they bolted out of the room. So I don't think, A, they didn't like the smell, or maybe it may opened a more realm, I don't know. But anyway, just, I would say, not harmful, but just watch your cat. If you put it in the evaporator and the cat decides to go, it's spooky stuff, move the evaporator, and not have the cat in the same room. Certainly not dangerous though, that one. So, how do we blend it then? I'm going to hand over to Gergely now, and he will tell you his thoughts about blending Cypress essential oil. See him after the slides.
Hello, Gerge here again, and this time I'm going to talk about Cypress. And look at that beautiful drawing again. I just love. It's one of my favorite drawings from our cards. And the keyword is transition. So the Latin name of Cypress is Cypress sempervirens. And sempervirens means living forever or everlasting or something like that in English. Okay, so let's look at this oil. What is its blending node? The blending node is middle to base. So again, middle can give the middle of the heart of the composition, or a base, which basically gives the strength to the composition, and it also fixates the other oils so that they can evaporate a little bit slower. Okay, so how would I describe Cypress? How would I describe Cypress? When I smell this oil, and I'm sure that some of you already know Cypress, and if we want to describe it, it is probably a little bit like pine-like or furish or woody, or even, well, I would definitely call it fresh. And just a little story, when I'm teaching aromatherapy to my students in my classes, the first rule that I always ask them is to create sort of like a scent lexicon or a scent or an aroma encyclopedia of their own, so that when they come up, they describe and they talk about the oil, and they smell the oil, then talk about it, and they come up with ideas, they come up with pictures, words or sensations and whatever, and put them down on paper, because that develops your brain to know more about the oil. So in one of these classes, one of the students described Cypress as a bushy or a shrubby scent, which made me laugh because it's just such a unique way to describe an oil. So anyways, okay, let's see what Cypress essential oil blends well with. First of all, I would say most of the other firs or most of the other woody oils, such as like Atlas cedarwood, or you could list like Scots pine or Himalayan fir or balsam fir or terebinth or any other furry oils. But you could also blend it well with some of the chamomiles, especially Roman chamomile. Then you could use some of the spices such as black pepper, or you could use also ginger, for example. Ginger and cypress is an interesting combination. Also, you could blend it well with clary sage, for example, or the classic and jack of all trades lavender or lavandin. Then other florals would include probably ylang ylang. Ylang ylang is as I already talked about the ylang ylang video, it's a very sweet, it's a very exotic, very sensual smell. So try ylang ylang with cypress, and you'll see what comes out. Then also you could blend it with some of the resins, such as benzoin, And most of the citrus oils. So Cypress goes well with grapefruit, with orange, with lime, with lemon, with bergamot, or even those exotic like kumquat or yuzu. Try these blends and then play around. And I'll see you in our next video. Bye.
Absolutely love that gurgley. Wasn't that lovely? I really enjoyed watching that. It's so nice to see somebody else's ideas of what to blend together. A couple of those blends I would never have thought of, so I'm excited to have a go. So we're nearly at the end. Just want to very quickly tell you a little bit about the people we've chosen to sell our oils for us. Fragrant Earth are the first company to support us. They're based in Glastonbury, which is the most mystical of places in England, and they have been operating as an essential oil supplier for over 40 years. They supply some of the most beautiful skincare houses in the world, really. When you go into their showroom and you see the places that have used their oils, you realise what good quality products they have, and they very kindly agreed to distribute the Tongues of the Trees cards for us. If you have a look in the below, you'll see a link to buy them. What I'd also say to you is, if we have made you fall in love with this essential oil, they can also send that out to you, and they are beautiful, beautiful oils. And of course you'll save yourself some shipping too, probably. What I will say is, just for transparency, Gagler and I will earn a commission off that sale. So if you decide to buy from that, not only do you get yourself a beautiful oil, it's a lovely way to say thank you to us for the information that we've given you. But hopefully, most important, get your Tongue of the Trees cards. You will not find a more satisfying way of using the essential oils. So thank you for being with us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Dexter's going to tell you how in a moment. And hopefully we'll see you on the next video.
You get your phone, you turn it this way up, and then there's a little red subscribe button. Turn it grey by clicking it, and then there's a little bell. Click that and press all at the bottom of your phone or tablet or computer. It will say you will receive all notifications, and then there's a little hand with a thumbs up. Click that, it'll turn it blue and it says added to your liked videos, and there will be comments, and if you want to, you can send a comment and say like hi's to Mum and Gagler, and then the link to the next video will be in the description below underneath the video. So bye.